The day was dark, covered by black clouds, rain, and thunder. The explosions earlier had added into the darkness spread through the battlefield. A war between two kingdoms had broken out 3 days ago. Lieutenant Wine, who was also in the Mega, took control. Standing at the command table, headset pressed to her ear, the blue light of the central holo map flickering against her face, the war scenes unfolded before her eyes. Wine, Squad 7, cover the hills, render the vulnerable. Her voice was calm, yet her vision dizzy. Despite being an Omega, vulnerable against many Alpha due to genetics, she earned her rank with pure skill and brutality that lived within her blood. But her heat was near, and the exhaustion from past 3 days was at peak. One gripped the corner of the table, trying to stabilize her vision. Not only her skills but her strategy always pushed them to every war. Lieutenant, someone called. That voice, deep, rough-edged, too composed for a man who had just come from the front lines. Why turned turn upon sensing his presence? General John, she said coldly. Wine, I wasn't aware the field needed your personal attention today. He moved his gloves slowly, fingers steady despite the faint smear of blood on his knuckles. Jungkook noticed immediately, the room full with wine scent, particularly stronger today. Was it near or was she already facing it? How was she able to stand in this condition? Jake, you gave an order that risked the West Squad. I'm here to correct it. Wine, my apologies, but we cannot act upon your decision. She clenched her jaw, rejecting the order from a high rank. Could get you expelled, even executed. He stepped closer, standing behind her, eyes scanning the same screens as her. JK, we can't win if you stay on defense. Wine, we can't afford to lose another 200 soldiers just to prove your theory right. Jungkook was near, an alpha of a high rank, this close when her heat was round the corner. Jungkook stared at her lips once, then he grabbed his mic. The blood spilled down his jaw, another streak down his veiny arm. Before he could give the order, one placed a dagger against his neck. That was clear treason. She was going to get executed for it. There was no escape anymore, but she wasn't letting any of them die in vain. Jungkook's calm eyes shifted towards her. The heat is getting to your head. I told you to step off the field, he said. Wine and let you kill our own soldiers? JK, it's either a little sacrifice or they're going to take over. Do you have a better plan? She didn't, and it sucked. The enemy attacked late night with high preparations. While their kingdom was living in peace, they couldn't prepare. The weapons were available, but the soldiers were not. The opponent kingdom made sure to send high ranking alphas against them, even weapons are rendered useless. Before you can use a weapon, they dominate the field using their pheromones. Despite being underprepared, they were able to hold off such strong force for 3 days now, all due to Wine's strategy. Wine removed her weapon from her neck and grabbed her armor. Then I'll go out and fix it myself. Anger in her eyes when she stabbed her daggers in her belts, grenades in her armor, and gloves in her hands. Jungkook said nothing as she marched out in the rain. Outside was a complete different scenario. Rain, smoke, sound of explosions, men screaming, swords clashing, and arrows being stabbed. The ground was filled with blood mixed with rain, and Omega, vulnerable, near her heat, stepping in a horde of alphas. Nothing about it was smart. But why didn't get her rank just by showing her looks? She was strong enough to do that. Before an alpha can release their pheromones, her dagger was in their neck. Before they notice her scent, her arrow has crossed their heart. Soldiers exhaled in relief, their torn, blood-filled, tired bodies filled up with hope at their appearance. One Omega against an army of soldiers. She moved like a ray of light. It's past before you notice it. One dead body after another hit the ground. Until her feet staggered, her vision blurred, and they got the chance to release their pheromones. The sudden wave hit her like a truck, starting from the back of her neck to clenching every vein in her body. It burned like she was on fire. Her heat came hitting her like a final blow. The dagger in her hand slipped. Her body trembled as she got on one knee despite trying to stay up. Lieutenant Warren, save her! They yelled. One whimpered in pain, her eyes growing vulnerable with time. The pheromones were one thing, but as her scent released due to her heat, it drove the alphas crazy. They didn't want to take her down anymore. They wanted to claim her, tame her, even mark her, and keep her to themselves. Their eyes flashed red, animalistic instincts growing as they turned apart through every soldier and circled around her. Vine was on her knee, surrounded by bees, completely useless, unable to lift a finger. Her body burned ablaze, blood spilled down to her arms, and then she smirked, a very small smirk before an explosion erupted high in the sky. A horde of alphas gathered at a place to chase an omega on heat, all blown up to pieces now. Nothing remained of them, and just like that, they successfully gained an upper hand. But Wine's condition got worse. The alphas from even her own team were kept away. The beta stepped in immediately, helping Wine back to the command room. JK, forcing your own heat to come sooner? How reckless, he commented. JK, everybody out. They have retreated for now, but the war has not ended yet. They might come back with a bigger blow. I want the medical team on the field and injured to be treated immediately. The captains are to take over. Stay alert, he commanded. Once the connection cut off, he looked at Wyatt now left alone with her. Despite everything, he was an alpha who was having a worse time controlling himself. Wine, give me a little time. I'll be back on the field, she managed to say. Zeke, not in that condition. Wine, you cannot handle it alone. It's a mess out there, General. He knew it. He knew it better than anyone. Wine whimpered more. Her body burned ablaze. It was worse than any heat she had ever faced before. As soon as she felt a presence behind her, she held out a dagger, hands trembling, body filled with sweat and vision blurry. She could barely keep herself conscious. Zeke, you're stubborn. And with you being like this, there's no way I can work here. Wine, I'm not going back if that's what you're suggesting. Zeke, let me give you a temporary mark then. The dagger fell, and so did she, back on the couch, unable to hold himself anymore. Wine, you must be. She exhaled, letting out a groan. Out of your mind, General. I would rather kill you than wear your mad. In and out of her conscious, she grabbed Jungkook's shirt and pulled him over. Wine, do it then. Mark me. She whimpered. Jungkook's eyes turned bloodshot. His hands balled into fists so hard, restraining himself he could snap a neck with a flick. One let out a cry, and Jungkook gripped her neck, immediately digging his teeth in there. Slowly, her body stopped trembling, her breathing calmed down, and energy returned. Jungkook stayed there, facing her neck, kept releasing his scent for a great time, while until she felt better. Take it, your body has turned hotter, he whispered. One gripped onto his shirt and pulled him back. His eyes landed on her lips, and so did hers. Wine, what did you do? It wasn't a temporary mark, is it? Their hands roamed around each other's body, tugged on their hair, and pulled on their lips. A kiss so deep both of them forgot how to breathe. Lost in each other once they pulled back, they were finally able to gain control over their senses and scents. Wine stood up, removing her armor and walking over to the screens. Wine, to win this war without losing her soldiers. General, you're too cold to be the leader, too good of a strategist to not have around. We need you to emerge victorious. Zeke, gotta protect the front lines and he smirked, walked over to Wine, held her jaw, stole a deep passionate kiss, walked out in the rain. He led the army, sent the opponent crying home, and Wine watched it all through the feed while taking control over the squads. A great strategist's life in a war is worth 1,000 soldiers. A lion commanding an army of 100 sheep is always better than a sheep commanding an army of 100 lions. Wine and Jungkook were always the best strategists, yet they sometimes switched and decided to step into the battlefield themselves and always returned victorious.